Hello, everybody. Welcome to 13th and Elm, a podcast where three horror movie loving friends get together once a week to watch two movies and then discuss them. Here's how it will work. One person hosts the movie night every week and gets to pick the two movies that are kept secret until revealed on the episode. We will then briefly discuss those movies before watching them and then coming back to discuss them in full. The movie titles will be included in the episode title, so you can watch the movies whenever you want at your leisure before tuning in. Alrighty, without further ado, let's get started.
Hello?
Well, sometimes that is better. Do you want to play a game?
What's that noise?
Popcorn.
You making popcorn?
Uh-huh.
I only eat popcorn at the movies.
Beep, beep, Richie.
Be my victim. What's your favorite scary movie?
Demons to some, angels to others.
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
What's that like the taste of butter? A pretty dress? What's that like to live deliciously?
That dude definitely looks like Chris Pratt.
I think it might be. Let's say Chris Pratt there.
We got that recorded. We can cut that out. What's up, Elmers? We are at Bill's house this week. I am Bill. I am joined here by...
Rob.
Michael.
What's going on? Are we excited?
Oh, so excited.
I'm sitting here waiting with bated breath. I can't wait to find out what the movies are this week.
All right, we'll jump right into it. Number one is going to be the 1969 Japanese horror classic, The Horrors of Malformed Men.
Never
Anyone heard of it right off the bat?
Is it like a thalidomide kind of movie, or
The what?
thalidomide?
I don't know what that is,
Okay.
so hopefully not.
No,
Or else I'm
definitely
going to
not.
look dumb right now. All right, here we go. We got the IMDb synopsis ready to go. After escaping from an insane asylum, a medical student assumes the identity of a mysterious dead man who appeared to be his doppelganger and gets lured to a sinister island ruled by a mad scientist and his malformed men. This is Teruo Ishii is the director. Apparently he's a big guy in the old Japanese horror stuff. I haven't really heard of any of the things before, but it's supposed to be a classic. It's banned in Japan. I think it still is, so it has to be good if it's banned.
How'd you find it? Or hear of it?
I was just Googling Japanese horror classics and looking for like some old stuff. And it popped up and it sounded fun, and I figured that you guys would not have seen it or heard of it, and it looks like I'm correct on that. Let's see, a big 6.5 out of 10 from IMDb and a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh.
Don't ask how many reviews that's from.
2,
8.
8.
8 people couldn't find a bad thing to say about this movie. A couple of the audience members could. It's got a 52% from audience. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got, because it was pretty old and
So you're blind as we are at this point.
I watched the trailer for it, and I read some. There wasn't a lot of trivia about it. I couldn't like the Wikipedia page about it was pretty bland. So, yeah, no, I'm almost. You guys now know what I know.
Good.
Just from that.
Yeah, I'm glad
except
we've
for
equaled it.
except for seeing the trailer on YouTube, which I don't even really remember. It wasn't much.
Yeah. I mean, it was the 60s, so what do you even put in a trailer? The director.
Yeah, it's just a video of him talking about the movie.
Yeah. Okay, so Island of Malformed Men, Doppelgangers, some sort of like, what do you call it? Island Dr. Moreau kind of shit. There's like monster people or something. Yeah, I'm interested. I don't really want to know anything about the plot, but is it supposed to be pretty gory because it's banned or like sexy?
I don't know.
Would it be
I mean, from reviews I've read is that the second half is pretty disturbing, and I didn't want to read into it too much because I didn't want to ruin anything for myself.
Well, I'm excited. I haven't heard of this at all. I do like some good Japanese horror film.
Yeah, I've been craving some Japanese horror for a while. I mean, dude's got like 100 director credits. None of them were familiar to me, but I mean, it's supposed to be classics, and I mean, I checked a lot of the people in it to see if they were in other stuff, and didn't really see much, which I kind of like that. The kind of like one and done, like no name kind of thing.
I do like that as well.
It's always kind of fun.
I mean, even in this, if they have a little bit more extensive career, it sounds like it's all going to be foreign to me, and I'm excited to see some fresh faces. And for lack of a better term, I'm big on that fart smell cinema. Any of that pumping up the air of their own tires type of shit. It's a band. Yeah. It's a classic. Yeah, it's got 100% on the Rotten Tomatoes critical reviews. Like that type of stuff really scratches my itch. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited for it. I'm going to go in with an open mind. I would imagine being the set and setting, there's probably going to be a lot of like class commentary, as a lot of these Eastern Asian horror films from that time period typically do. But other than that, I don't recognize any of the names. I've never heard of the film. I'm pumped.
I want to try to include some random IMDb review headlines, just because some of them are funny. So we got one that said, disturbing and ingenious for its lunacy, which, makes it sound cool. And then one that was bad and not in a good way. Is the other one.
So that's the full gamut.
So, we're covering all the bases.
Artistically brilliant and bad and not good.
Exactly. So, and we'll see, because I know we've had a history, especially recently, of these older, supposed to be like classics and them only being boring. So, hopefully this one is not as boring.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. We have different tastes. This is the point.
I don't know if Bats or Lawnmower Man were supposed to be classics. The one classic that we can readily pull was great, highly entertaining.
Yeah.
Which one?
Little Shop of Horrors, 1960 Little Shop of Horrors.
That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
Borscht Belt drama.
Borscht Belt drama. Yeah, it was fun, but I mean, horror movie in a very roundabout way.
Well, buckle up. It's going to be a long season of 13th and Elm.
13th and Elm.
All right, you ready to jump in?
Yeah, how long is this again?
It's like hour 40.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, not too long.
I was going to watch anyway, but definitely.
Yeah, you good? You're in now? You're in for sure? Alrighty, Horrors of Malformed Men. Let's do it. And we're back. We just watched Horrors of Malformed Men. What do you guys think? Well, we can go over it. We'll go over it first.
Okay, yeah, it's weird. There's like a lot of like chapters isn't the way to put it, but there's I don't know. There's the whole saga where he's like in the prison and he's trying to figure out where he is and who he is, and he has amnesia.
So it's out in the insane asylum, and they're playing with prop knives.
Yeah, but you don't know that, right? You like kind of like zoom out and you kind of see they're like in a jail, but yeah, she has a prop knife
which is strange because I don't know. It seems like a weird thing to have in an insane asylum. Like, play around stabbing each other.
Everyone's wearing all their own clothes.
Or not.
More often
that was
clothes.
Completely optional.
But
no clothes at all.
No clothes at all.
Lots of nudity.
And he was in the. Apparently, if you have good behavior, you're just allowed to walk around. The guards just let you like go and walk around and whatever. It's cool.
Yes.
Well, it doesn't. It wasn't a sane asylum, not a prison.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was there were cells. I wrote prison when we first started watching, so we didn't have the context. But yeah, you're right. It's an insane
well,
asylum.
it's a synopsis.
But you still like he just gets to leave. He just like walks out.
Well, he kills somebody.
Yeah, that's right. The dude could
to leave.
The sweaty bald man.
Yeah, he didn't really just. But was that guy like a guard?
No, he
seemed like another
patient.
He
was like an inmate, whatever.
He was like planted there to watch him, and then tried to kill him, and then got murdered instead. Right.
As we come to find out, that he was a plant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the moment that we first saw it, it seemed as though he was another inmate, which he was.
He was.
Or a patient, however you want to say it. He was playing that role, I guess, to serve a watchful eye on our hero, Hirosuke.
Hitomi. Yeah.
Hitome Hirosuke, who later, post his escape, he's on a train heading, I suppose, to home or somewhere else. I honestly can't recall. And he finds a newspaper featuring a picture of what seems to be a man identical to himself.
Doppelganger.
Underneath the headline.
The obituary.
The obituary.
Mm-hmm.
The obituary headline saying that some prominent figure of a family in the community has died.
Yes. The Komoda.
Yes.
Komoda family.
His name was Genzuburo Komoda.
Yeah.
So he
he goes and gets a massage.
Yeah.
Like
that was kind of
as anyone does when they escape from.
He's
very uncomfortable. I don't know if you've ever been in a cell, but it's very uncomfortable.
We skipped a lot. We skipped a lot because we skipped the whole part because the reason he goes that way is because of the circus girl.
Yes, we did skip a little bit.
Okay,
yes.
And this is actually a scene I want to talk about, maybe not in depth, but a little bit because. Okay, he gets out of the insane asylum.
And immediately starts talking to that girl.
She's singing the lullaby.
Right.
Which he has already mentioned that is distinctly familiar to him in his amnesia state.
Yeah, it shows flashbacks when he's in the insane asylum, and it shows the disfigured face of the woman singing it.
Right.
And then we immediately hear that girl singing it when he escapes.
And then they're talking, and she's like, "Oh, you're a rude man, smack." And then like run over to a playground, and he eventually gets her attention. He's like, "Hey, tell me about that lullaby." She's like, "Oh my God, no one in Tokyo knows this lullaby. It's from my hometown." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then I think I looked down, and I missed something about a picture he was gonna draw her. So they meet the next day.
So it was the picture that he had in his asylum.
The mountainscapes, right?
Yeah, the mountainscapes,
that he was drawing.
the island.
Okay.
Because he kept saying that he had this vague memory of this image, which was the mountainscapes and the island, as well as this lullaby. He escapes after killing the bald, sweaty man, and he follows the woman who's singing the song. He asks her about the song, and he says, "I can't remember where I'm from." And she doesn't know where she's from. She just remembers being taught the song at an early age because as long as she can remember, she's been a circus performer. And she doesn't know if she was kidnapped or sold or how she came to be in the circus. But she remembers being taught the song by her mother.
Yeah, she says the coast of the Sea of Japan. That's as distinct as we get.
Which is incredibly vague.
And she jumps when they're out on the playground, she jumps down like circus style, you know?
Sure, circus style.
And I got big Let the Right One In kind of vibes. We're playing around, she's being real aloof, and I was like, "Oh, please be a demon." And she was sadly she did not.
She was the daughter of a magician, as you learned.
She was his sister.
Way more than that.
Hold on.
But
there's a lot.
Hold on, we'll get there.
So incest is it's an undercurrent that does not go away. It is constant.
So he says to her, if this song is only known in your hometown, and you don't know where you're from, and I don't know where I'm from, but I also know this song, maybe we can figure out if we're from the same place, and maybe we can trace this song. And that's when he says, quick, let me draw you this picture.
Right.
Because he associates the memory of the coast in his mind to the song. And when he begins to draw the picture, they're interrupted by
the guards.
The guards
are like
looking for him.
Oh my God, we didn't lock any doors. We gotta find this. We gotta find this guy.
Finally looking for him.
So he says quickly to her, I will draw this picture and I will come back to show you tomorrow.
Right.
And I believe, is it at that point?
That's when they're at the circus and she's in the blue like tasseled dress and then she is killed by a knife.
Yes, as he returns the next day to meet her at the circus, he goes to speak to her, show her the painting or the drawing, and she is killed by a knife. A throwing knife from some mysterious direction. Right. Yeah. Some sort of assassin has ended her life.
At noon.
In broad daylight at the circus.
Yes. Okay, so...
And that was like chapter 1.
That was like chapter 1. Then he gets on the... also, all of chapter 1 and a good portion of chapter 2 is like record scratch, him thinking about what's going on. Oh, no, it's actually mostly chapter 2. We'll get into that. But it's kind of like Wonder Years, right? It's a lot of like narration and his face, like looking around at people and like assessing the situation, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Anyway, they get on the train.
Well, he's also framed. He's kind of framed, or at least accused of the murder. Because
he did murder that guy.
No, the girl. The girl.
Oh, that's
when
right.
She got the knife thrown into her.
Yeah.
And then the guards convenient arrived after he had pulled the knife out of her chest, and he had a bloody knife over a dead body.
Yeah, exactly.
So then he is framed for murder, and I believe he is on train to go to jail, or like
no, because he's not on a train to jail. He's like trying to get to the coast, right?
Not until he meets the masseuse.
No, because he knows that it's a coast, it's a town.
Sure,
sort.
I think you are right.
Because when he goes to the masseuse, she's like, "Look out that window. There's the island right there."
Yeah.
But he's going to the coast, but he's not going to jail. He like somehow gets away from that. I don't understand. How he gets away.
It was kind of vague and quick moving. I was also trying to take notes and read subtitles. But I don't know that it was that important because we skimmed over it very quickly.
We did, and he gets to the masseuse.
And he is then informed by the masseuse that he has an identical scar on the bottom of his foot, the sole of his foot.
A swastika.
Which is a swastika, which never seems to be mentioned. And honestly, I don't know which way it was facing. It could have totally been
they call it a...
they called it the Gamodium or something, which I didn't want to spend too much time on it because I was trying to watch.
Well, it's a
obviously,
Jane,
but I gave it a quick Google.
Religious symbol.
And it is some kind of like... But I couldn't really get any info on it.
This is also 1969. It's not too far off of the heels of World War II and a Japanese affiliation with Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
Like, this had to be very much at the time viewed as it still is today, a swastika.
Yeah, well, it could be.
But it's also Eastern Asian, and they are well more versed in that, in those religious iconographies.
Well, it's a simple symbol. It's an old symbol. It exists in a lot of cultures. It could be anything. To us, of course, it looks like swastika, but it's to serve that plot point that they're basically like physically identical, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
The symbol didn't have anything to do with the plot,
fascism or anything.
It just had to do with tying him with someone else.
Like, oh my god!
So, an identical scar on the heel of his foot, which was identical to the man that he had seen in the obituary, which it was his doppelganger.
Apparently, if you want to get gossip, you go to the masseuse. Like, that is where you hear about, like, oh my god, did you hear about this rich kid who just died? Like, let me tell you about his wife. Let me tell you about his dad. Let me tell you about his dad's crazy island. His three
bathhouse, is kind of a social place, meeting grounds in Japan. Did we ever pinpoint a timeline here? Because the circus, I can't remember her name, Kasume or something. She looked very much like she was in modern. Hatsuyo looked very much like she was in modern dress in the opening scenes. But then much of the watermark on the year was muddled once we did eventually get to the island of malformed men.
So I don't know, but they at least say they're in Tokyo when he's in the mental institution and he meets her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's where he was attending medical school.
That's where he's attending medical school. So that's, I don't know, I think that's like modern day, aka 60s.
Right.
Right? She's got like a pretty high waist. She's wearing like bright colors. She's got her ankles showing. She's not wearing traditional garb.
Correct.
But then you get like to the coast and like everybody, it's still fairly rural. Like everyone, like his wife is like all done up.
Right.
She has like her hair is done up. She's got the like super decorative kimono with a belt and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's a very feudal setting.
Yeah, so it's hard for me to tell when Japan has had and still has a lot of like traditional clothing, traditional culture to like pinpoint. Yeah. And there's not a lot. There's like, I don't remember seeing like a telephone outside of like maybe the prison, the insane asylum.
Right.
But yeah, I guess 60s.
I would assume.
Yeah.
But it almost seems like when we get to the island, we're in a place that exists almost outside of time.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's almost a music video.
We're getting there.
We'll get there.
In fact, I think we're there.
I think we're there.
Go ahead, Rob.
Oh, man. Okay.
We're not there yet. Are we there already?
No, we're not there yet because
I'm thinking more of that great scene in the graveyard where he...
Oh,
yeah.
It's so good.
Where he
Very Weekend at Bernie's.
Pretending that he's going to get on his back and then just kind of shoves the body on him.
Before you get into this classic like slapstick comedy scene, which is and the priest, he goes to the funeral and like immediately decides like this guy looks like me, I'm taking his place. Like he starts clocking people left and right, and he's like remembering what the masseur tells him about like the wife and the names and all that, and he's like clocking them and everything with his eye-patched eye. And then I don't think they like show him really doing anything else, and he immediately like grave robs, like, right? He like immediately goes and steals.
Yeah, it all happens so fast.
Yeah, he basically leaves the masseuse with a masked identity to attend the funeral of his doppelganger. Takes an entire reading of the procession, like, you know, face by face, name by name, and begins to figure out how he can assume the role of Genzaburo and assimilate into the family. And his grand master idea to do all this is to seemingly become Genzaburo by resurrecting himself from the dead, and it goes unquestioned largely.
Yeah, they seem. It's
very
like,
okay with the fact.
It happens every so often, you know.
That every 100,000 years.
Please describe that scene because it's so good.
I mean, like I already said, he kind of is testing that guy. Like he's like, all right, he says, I'm gonna jump on your back, carry me back, and then he just throws the dead guy on him.
Yeah.
Not the dead guy, but what he thinks at the time is a dead guy, and then. I don't know if he assumed that the guy wasn't going to notice, because of course he did immediately.
yeah, right.
That whole scene was wild.
Well, him like running the old priest with the fantastic bald cap that you clocked.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could definitely see that on the ears, but whatever. No, he like sees the dead son, quote unquote, in his like white funeral garb, face down. And like walks over there, and the guy doesn't respond immediately, and then just like grabs his ankle basically, and you get like a Scooby-Doo like kind of like, you know, and he like props him up, and then he's swaying back and forth, and then he gets the younger one in and like does the whole bit with the like piggybacking.
So these are like the groundskeepers of the cemetery.
They're the priests. They're the priests.
They're the priests.
Yeah, they're wearing like priests. They're wearing like priest garb.
Yeah.
They're like Shinto priests, I guess. But no. He's like got on the back, and he's like still talking to the younger priest, and is like, I've got diarrhea like from last night.
Oh my god!
Like,
I totally forgot about
he's
the
like,
diarrhea part.
And he's like, it smells. Like, oh yeah, something leaked out. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah,
dude.
that definitely felt like a Three Stooges bit.
Absolutely.
It was good. Almost as good, but not quite as good, was immediately after that. They have the dead son who's not dead. It's Hitomi pretending to be Genzaburo, you know, after grave robbed, and the priest and the doctors are like arguing with one another. They're like, the priests are like, "Oh my God, you buried this guy. He wasn't even dead," and they're like, "No, you get paid to do funerals. This is they're like slapping each other on the head too. Like it's I don't know. It was a good little comedy bit.
Yeah, at this point in the movie, I really didn't know what the overall temperament was going to be.
It's weird.
There was a lot of slapstick and a lot of, I don't know, misplaced comedy. Little did we know what we were in for.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I definitely read online, like, some reviews that people are like, oh, the first half is pretty slow, and then the second half is kind of just insane, and
I was very intrigued, honestly, by the first half. It was slow.
I didn't really think it was. I mean, it was slow, but I didn't think it was boring at all. I think it had a lot of good dialogue. It had a lot of good character development. It had a lot of cool scenes. I did like all the small things that he was realizing he didn't know about the guy that he was taking out, like the whole, like he saw in the photo album that he was left-handed, and he was like, oh shit, and like the dog noticed that it wasn't him,
and they were asking
and
about his glasses. So he's trying to assimilate the role of his doppelganger, and he's picking up all the little nuances that he's not implementing, so that nobody comes on to his ruse too quickly. And surprisingly, nobody was really picking it up. I mean, we're talking about... Except for the dog.
Not only that, apparently he didn't pick a single thing up until, like, day 2. Like, he didn't even use his right hand until, like, day 2.
But we're talking about live-in maids. We're talking about he was married.
Yeah,
he had a wife.
And he was, like, he was resurrected, so he's, like, sleeping.
Also, if you're 95% plus convinced that someone you know has been resurrected, I don't think I'm paying attention to the dominant hand in that situation. If in my mind you came back to life, I don't think I would
That's
not
an argument of
notice.
pragmatism, though. If I'm 95% convinced somebody I know has died...
Oh, so you're looking out for those things, you mean?
Yeah, because I'm way less likely to believe that somebody has resurrected. I'm going to be like, what I'm saying. Are you sure, though? But he had the scar.
But I think the point was, I was thinking, like, the skepticism wasn't really there with them like it would be for us. Like, they seem to pretty much be like, oh, you forgot to wear your glasses.
No.
And he's just like, okay.
The steward is definitely trying to get him to slip up the whole time.
Yes.
But everybody else seems like... They seem maybe not, like, whole hog believing it, but they're, like, pretty cautiously optimistic that he somehow... And this used to happen, right? They used to have, like, bells and, like, Victorian coffins and stuff so that you could, like, ring in case you were, like, accidentally buried alive or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
There also might have been an element of, like, you don't question the head of household, kind of. Like, I was
when
getting
the head
those
of
types of
household
vibes.
comes back from the dead.
Type deal.
No, but true that. Yeah. Fuck.
So that was what this is. We're coming to the end of chapter 2.
This is the end of chapter 2.
Still before the island.
I also kind of like the, like, imposter bits that we were... It wasn't the best... I don't know. It wasn't the best film. It was, like, an interesting story, I guess. Like, him finding out he was having an affair with one of the maids, and him trying to juggle 2 women and also pretend to be somebody he's not.
Well, he was throwing a bone because his wife, shortly after that, did die. His wife passed away.
Did.
That was a really quick death for how big they made her character too. I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, she kind of woke up and was choking, and we were like, oh, she's choking on blood, and then boom, she's dead. And we cut the funeral.
It was like in memoriam and a black and white photo of her.
Yeah, we didn't get any explanation for that at the time.
No, that and again those close up like scenes with the back and forth eyes where they're like all looking to see if he's gonna wear the glasses or like what's going on.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They very much remind me of Godfather when Michael is at the restaurant getting ready to kill Sollozzo.
Okay.
And if you guys are familiar, he's kind of looking back and forth, scanning the room. He had just recently grabbed the gun from the toilet, and he completely forgets all of his instructions on how to perform a hit. Michael, obviously not a seasoned mafia member at this point, but it's very eye-centric, sound-centric, a lot of gauging the room. And this movie came out, a few years before. Obviously, I don't think that this had any influence on Francis Ford Coppola.
No, probably not.
But it was reminiscent. It was reminiscent in ways. It did remind me of that.
It reminded me of like a Western standoff, like who's gonna shoot first, kind of. But no, it was good. That chapter 2 was fun.
I'm gonna say before we move further, this could have been the end of the movie for me, and I would have been perfectly fine with it. Because up until this point, I was engaged and I was entertained, and I was hopeful. Because along the journey, where he, I believe, Hasuke is playing the role of his doppelganger. I keep butchering these names. Genzoburo. He's wandering around his household and he's kind of grieving the loss of his wife, and then he stumbles upon is she a maid? I can't recall. I believe she's a maid, and she's singing the lullaby again. The one he has heard in his head, the one that he has heard the woman from the circus sing.
It's like his wet nurse or something,
yes.
right?
Yeah,
she's
the older lady. Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
and so he hears the lullaby from a distant room, and he goes up there and he begins a conversation with her, like, what is this lullaby? Because he's very perplexed by this. He still can't seem to pinpoint where this has come from. And she says to him, don't you remember we used to sing this all the time? When you came back from the island, you would sing it with me every day. And then she shows him a picture that he being the now deceased Genzoburo, had drawn. So he sees a picture that Genzoburo had drawn of the same coastline that we have already spoken about, and he's hearing the lullaby.
It's the same drawing.
And he says, I want to go to the island. Yeah. And we set off to the island. And we could have turned it off right there for me.
Yeah. We skipped the part where they smashed a live snake.
Yes. I made a note about that, but I didn't know if it was even worth bringing up. But that...
It does appear that
definitely looked like they just killed that snake on camera.
A living snake on film. And that was not my favorite part of the film, obviously.
No.
And honestly, turning point, because right there is we start to begin to go to the island, and it was not my favorite. We'll get into many reasons why. But I honestly, at this point, shortly after this, stopped taking notes because I did not feel the film was worth it.
That's fair.
Fair enough. So we get to the island, and our first introduction is the goat women.
Well, yeah.
Well, we have.
There's like the
they come over the hilltop.
There's the end of Two Towers where
the Braveheart
comes over the ridge at first light, and it's a bunch of. I think they're almost all women because I was looking for.
At this point, mostly
women,
and they're being they're like all leashed and collared and have
on
like
all fours. Most of them.
Yeah, they're all like on all fours and have like blindfolds and like bits in their mouths, and they're being like whipped on by
like a dog usher,
hunchback people with like bad makeup on, like baboonish makeup.
I mean, they definitely love horses. Like, that's the thing. Like, it almost seems like they were treating them as horses, and then we'll get to it. But at the end, he wanted them to build like that big statue thing with a horse head. Like,
all of this was very theater.
Yeah,
it had a lot of the makeup and stage presence of theater. There was a lot of like theatrical dancing numbers.
Oh man, this whole bit before they're like on the barge with the gold woman like spread with their legs spread out.
Yeah.
Okay. When they're all doing that and they're like going, yes, very real though. The Golden Mermaid. When they're going down there and they're seeing all this stuff, it's all right. It's all like the Rite of Spring fucking
absolutely
play, which. Yeah, it is. It is a bunch of naked women and like paganish kind of
fertility
jumping
type of
around,
ceremony.
And it's a lot of like dissonance and yeah.
I wrote in my notes that like it was very like avant-garde and like Jodorowsky style psychedelia influence, and I mean this is the late '60s. You know, there's a lot of that happening in the world and even reaching East Asia, but it definitely seemed like a mashup of like Merry Pranksters and like a Beatles video. Like it was just not.
What's the most debauched like pagan thing we can think of? And it's like them like fucking goats, and then there's like it's like men like tying women up and putting them on like to be burnt at the lakeside, right? They're like all
like marching to the pyre,
and then there's people like twirling like fire sticks. There's not quite the Cirque du Soleil they get into when they go inside, but it's around the edges.
You're getting a little tasty preview.
It's mostly people like eating raw meat and dancing and fucking and jumping around and that kind of thing.
I honestly did like that scene, the circus-esque with the all silver
the Cirque du
women
Soleil
and
with the metallic body
and
paint
stuff. It was, I mean, it was strange, and it was like a little uncomfortable, which I like. So I did enjoy those parts.
What did you think about the jungle music that we had during that scene? There was like the like marimbas and a lot of drums and stuff.
To be honest, I don't
it sounded like
really
video game.
remember.
It sounded like Crash Bandicoot video game music, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It was just like this is like this is the primal, like, you know, we're in not civilized society anymore.
Definitely, and that was not an accidental vibe. We were definitely
we were like
not in Tokyo anymore, Dorothy.
Not in Tokyo anymore.
Yeah, the body paint, man. I mean, not only that, everybody was like either like really muddy, like covered in like ash or cake batter, or there's like a whole scene of people had like cake batter on their faces or something.
Yeah, covered in the white
and green and red and
looking
stuff.
Yeah, it looked incredibly uncomfortable to play one of the aforementioned malformed men.
Yeah.
Like they were caked in plaster.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean, a lot of them were in cages.
And they all
being
had like
hand-fed
bridal veils covered in garbage stuck in their mouths. Like that was supposed to be some sort of deformity. And we might as well just jump right into the goats.
The goats.
This was happening right around here. So for whatever these women had seemingly been like sewn a la like a prehistoric human centipede, anus to anus with these.
They
were sheep or goats. Like I don't know what was going on. It looked like something that was a choice at the time, but I think we come to find out later that this was part of the experiments of I can't recall the gentleman's name, but he was
Jogoro.
Jogoro was fusing these Siamese twins, he kept referring to them as. Some of them were opposite sex, but some of them were even opposite species. And it was a bloody mess of bullshit.
It was definitely human centipede-esque, kind of haphazardly sewn. Like the first one you saw, the woman, it was like sewn like arms first into the goat.
Right.
Like it wasn't like if you think of goat woman.
Yeah.
You don't think of that.
You don't think of that.
Like face to face, like kind of weird, randomly sewn. But yeah, it was that was strange.
Hirosuke is kind of just taking this all in stride too. He seems a little off put, but he doesn't have a lot of questions.
Handled it pretty well.
He does. Also, Jigoro, his whole look, like I love his look.
He was great. Like, he was kind of would contort himself kind of just as he was moving around.
You gotta show off those webbed hands, so it's a lot of
lots of hands in front of the face.
Like dancing kind of stuff, and also, man, beautiful hair.
Mm-hmm.
He had like a ribbon tied in. There's a lot of androgyny. He's wearing a dress. He's wearing like white lace gloves.
I did really like his whole aesthetic.
Yeah.
So Jigoro is our
mad scientist.
He's our
Dr.
mad
Moreau.
Scientist, malformed island, almost like a deity. It seemed like he was like a cult figure to a lot of these people.
They're his children.
Yeah.
Okay, so we find out that at some point the hunchbacks are like Jigoro has like shown his menagerie in his fantasy world to Hitomi or Harusuke, whatever his name is. I think that's two of his names actually.
I think it's Hitome Hirosuke.
Yeah. Anyway, so he shows it to Hitome, aka Genzaburo, the guy he's pretending to be, that is his doppelganger, and it turns out Genzaburo is, it doesn't turn out. We know Genzaburo is his son.
The son of Jigoro.
Because Jigoro is banished his son before he died. I think we skipped over that, but this is his fantasy island that he's like sunk the whole family fortune into to create these hybrid animal people.
These malformed men.
And the malformed men and the hunchbacks are like, yeah, we've been, shed on our whole lives, so now we're gonna take over and we're gonna make you guys slaves.
Yeah,
and
Jigoro's plan is to basically cultivate an island of malformed men and then to set them free. To
like rape women and impregnate them
make everybody
to make more
malformed
men.
Right, because he doesn't appreciate the privilege and the pomp and circumstance that the undeformed treat the world, or the way that they view
his
the
wife,
world.
Because his wife was
the
mean
most
to him.
Right. She's one of the most beautiful women in all of Japan, and she chooses to take this husband with these webbed hands, and he is mistreated in that relationship. This is kind of like his redemption.
Yeah. It's Revenge of the Malformed Men.
I mean, they're incels. That's basically what happens.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
They're mad at the world, and then they can't get laid, so they're gonna,
So they're gonna.
They're gonna malform men to rape the populace.
Yes. No, that was wild. Yeah, I mean, the Hunchbacks were just brought in to rape the woman, which resulted in the daughter that was at the circus, right?
Yeah. So he basically, okay. So what happens is the cop shows up. This is when the cop shows up and starts giving us like all the backstory.
Lot of backstory.
This is one of my absolute least favorite horror tropes.
You don't like a giant exposition dump at the very end of the movie?
Just bring in a random character to reveal the entire plot?
Yes, because up to this point, honestly, while there was good character development and some interesting subplot and undertones, there has been no plot. This movie is suffering moment by moment the further we get into it, because it has established no real plot. And to just introduce this character to come in and say, I've been following you and I am obsessed with investigating crimes, and let me tell you what's occurred over the past several months.
And he had insane information.
Well,
hated it.
Not only that, he's basically like a bored rich. He's Sherlock Holmes. He's Sherlock Holmes from Tokyo, who's reading the paper and finds out about these missing girls, right?
That's he just has like infinite resources and capital to investigate this on his own private time.
Human trafficking in 1960 Tokyo.
Good for him.
Awesome. Great.
Noble move.
Very convenient for the plot. And he decides to like go and investigate all this, and then become like a manservant in the Komodo house to like further investigate stuff. Because he finds out that
he goes and visits the grave.
Because Hitomi escapes from like the mental institution. Right. He like knows that also.
And then he automatically goes to the gravesite because he also read the newspaper obituary and realizes that this man looks like him, and he begins to suspect that upon Genzo Burrow's return, that it is actually
Hitomi pretending to be him.
And so on a hunch, he goes and digs up the grave, finds the body of Genzo Burrow without his funeral attire, and then he infiltrates the Komodo house as a manservant. Immediately. And again, unquestioned. Yeah. Convenient for the plot. He just infiltrates and starts gathering data.
This family is too trusting.
Not only that, well, because they're basically like nobles, right? They've got like a whole estate, and they've got all these manservants and everything, right? But still, he then finds out that there's like an entire subplot of the steward and one of the maids trying to like kill everybody off and inherit the property, which he then goes through, which makes sense because you got like the snakes, obviously, and then we find out what happened to the wife, Choco.
Yes, the mysterious death earlier, not so mysterious as it turns out.
They were in the ceiling.
Classic ninjas.
Brought down a string.
Yeah.
And were pouring poison onto the string so it would drip down into his mouth. But of course,
she
adjusted positions in her sleep.
And she yawns.
And when
she yawns and it goes immediately in her mouth.
She takes the entire dose of poison.
Took that load.
She took it. Well, not only that, it
died immediately.
It's both the steward and the maid are up there. They're like, they have to collaborate to murder him, so they have to both be in the ceiling.
And let's not forget the guy hiding in the chair.
Oh man, the chair guy.
Groping Chiyoko, I think, through it, and also leaving notes.
Yeah, this is the perverted Kurogawa, I believe. What's his name?
One of the hunchbacks?
No, he was like some sort of like clerk or secretary for the house.
Oh, was he Wild West banker Monocle Man?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, he's the guy who also kills Circus Girl at the circus.
Yes, as it turns out.
So the mysterious knife came from this guy.
Right. Oh, because that's the whole thing. Like, he's a pervert because he likes to dress in drag and smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, that was
and
the
also
kind of
hide in a chair and grope people through
killer.
a chair, which was really. How do you do that? How do you not notice someone's in a chair groping you through a chair?
The chair
she was into it from what we saw.
She did seem to get into it. It was a weird
like,
scene.
I'm not asking questions. This chair does it for me.
Shit feels good.
Yeah, so he, along his plot to, gather evidence, finds a secret compartment in her chair, hides in there, and waits for her and her partner to sit there and spill the beans, which they do.
And then they have sex.
They have sex on that chair, in him,
through the chair,
while he's, groping, what's her name?
Toke.
No, it's Chiyoko.
It's Chiyoko. Yeah, or Chiyoko.
Chiyoko, yeah.
She was the one getting groped at this time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, this is what part of the problem with the rapid exposition is. There's so many moving parts, and there's so many names of people who have really only minorly been introduced at this point.
Right.
That,
so I thought it was Toki and her cousin, because they were fucking.
Toki and her cousin were fucking.
And that's why, because pervert guy works for Jigoro, right? Jigoro?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Island
it didn't matter.
Madman.
But we do get that scene where it turns out, because Sherlock Holmes tells us that they basically put out an ad and were able to steal 200 women. They just like put in an order and somehow got them on a container ship. And then you see Wild West Banker in drag with cigarettes and a knife, and he's just like going to town on these ladies, like abusing them and burning them with cigarettes and cutting them up with knives and shit.
Yeah, I mean, we're missing so much because Jigoro's wife is currently having an affair during all of this as well.
I think that's like this, during the
she's
past.
Like in the cave.
Well, during the past, but like this is like when the story is being told.
Yeah,
because we're in the cave and we're reminiscing on all of the past events.
Right.
And congruent to Sherlock Holmes' exposition, we also have Jigoro telling his devious plot as to why this island is created and how he knows that Hirosuke is assumed the role of his son. Or I guess actually Hirosuke admits that to him.
Admits that.
He admits that to him because he sends Hirosuke off to Tokyo at the tender age of 3 to pursue a medical career so that he can come back as a trained surgeon.
To help him malform men.
Not just that, he sends his child off at 3 years old to become a surgeon to help him make hybrid people animals.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Which is, I mean, obviously he's crazy, he's insane, but that's an insane thing to do.
3 years old.
Like, that's such an insane thing to do.
Hirosuke obviously says, no, I'm not going to do that.
Well, he doesn't even remember, right?
Well, when he realizes the plot, he's like, I'm not, like, I went to medical school, blah, 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 blah. I'm here pretending to be my brother. It turns out you're my father. He pieces all of this together, and he immediately rejects the notion when Jigoro takes them to some cave to reveal where he had...
Oh, do you want to meet your mother?
Yes, to reveal his mother, who has... been taken to this cave to die with her lover.
He does die.
The lover does die.
Gets eaten by crabs.
The lover is also her cousin.
Yes, and then we are getting to a big incestuous reveal. And turns out everybody's related. Everybody's fucking.
Also, this whole thing takes place 25 years ago because Genzaburo and fucking no, not Genzaburo. I guess it's the Siamese twins that are the child of the cousin and
Jigoro's wife.
Toki. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Toki is the wife.
Yeah, Toki's the wife.
Mm-hmm. I think we got to wrap this review up, guys. I don't know that any of the Elmers are really following or caring. I would recommend right now, before we even get to our ratings, this is a big don't watch.
Don't watch this movie.
This is a big don't watch, guys. I'm sorry. We'll spare you.
We'll jump to the end real quick. There's the beach chase. We find out the whole island is rigged with explosives.
Yeah, he pulls out something of seaweed.
Pulls the thing of a tree.
There's a giant control.
There's a kill switch.
Like, with a kill switch.
And then there's the fireworks blowing up with all the body parts with great effects.
Yeah, with the ghost heads.
And if this sounds confusing or like we're skipping a lot of things, it's is not. And we are.
Well, no, the first half of the movie is pretty standard.
It's fairly
plot.
tight.
It's the
I
narrative
actually did like the first half. I was very intrigued by this, and I thought I was gonna like it quite a bit based off the first couple acts, but no.
No, when the cop came in, I was like, oh man. Like, you guys were already going crazy. Like, we didn't have somebody to explain all this weird shit that was going on in the background.
Alright, so let's do final quick ratings real quick, and then we'll get to the next one. I definitely preferred the first half. I did like parts of the second half, like the fucked up, kind of disturbing stuff. You know, I hate the plot dumps, like everyone else. It's kind of boring. It's kind of lazy. Out of 100, I'd give it a 58.
That's generous.
And I feel like that is a little generous, but I picked it. So.
Well, you know, I will kind of echo some of what you said. I did like the first bits of the movie. I did find the original ideas and some of the nuances in Hirosuke assuming this new identity to be interesting and quite fun. The further we went down the rabbit hole, which is usually something that I really enjoy. As you'll like come to know as we continue to listen, I like the rabbit hole. I like that avant-garde, just psychedelic, weird, non-linear plot. Like, love that horror trope of just throw everything in a blender and put it out there and see if we can kind of trick the viewer into thinking this is something creative. Trick works on me 99% of the time. This was 1% that did not. This was hot garbage. In the notes officially, I have written down the words dog water. This should have been nourishing, but it was really just backsplashed, gross, ground puddle, horrible plot. 29 out of 100.
29.
Wow. That's a scathing review.
Well, it's what it deserves.
No, your opinion is valid. I think you're right. But I'm gonna say it's a 4. Let's say it's 4 out of 10. And here's why. It's actually 2 movies. It's 2 different movies, and the first movie I liked, and the first movie would have been better if there had been like more kills in it, and like you keep going with the the like who's in the house that's trying to hurt people kind of stuff. And then the second movie was just weird banana shit, and I don't know. It could have been fun, but if those were 2 different movies and each was 80 minutes, 6 out of 10.
For the first one, yeah.
Yeah.
Easily a 6 out of 10 for the first one.
But together, too much going on, too long, too weird. Like, I don't know.
Not quite sure why exactly this was banned in Japan. Obviously, I don't have the cultural understanding. I didn't grow up there. The time was obviously much different. Yeah. The idea of incest is never a popular one, but in cultures with steep traditions, I mean, that's probably the most offensive part of that.
I would have to guess it mostly the incest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of
incest. Driving factor for that.
But some of the acting was pretty solid. I do love Gojiro's look. And there were some positives here.
Hot kissing scenes.
Oh man.
The closed mouth.
Mashing them together.
The only time a mouth was open that entire movie was when the poison was falling down the thread. Yeah. You know, let's put that one in the books for 13th and Elm, and let's reveal the second film. Yeah. What are we watching next, Bill?
Second movie, we're jumping 20 whole years into the future for Death Spa. 1989 Death Spa, directed by Michael Fischa. Let's get to IMDb.
Michael Fischa?
Shout out to IMDb.
Shout out to IMDb.
Thanks for giving us the easy cliff notes on these.
Easy. Okay, Michael Evans, whose wife Catherine recently killed herself, is the owner of a high-tech health club. Catherine possesses the club's computer system and uses the club's equipment to murder people.
Okay. So
you know this?
No, I've not seen this, but
I wouldn't say I love this trope, but it's a cool trope where like a spirit possesses mechanical things.
Yes.
Or like a smart house, or a hot tub, or a spa, or whatever.
So
like,
I'm definitely looking forward to this one. I mean, it sounds like pretty much the whole movie is going to take place in an 80s health club. So the outfits, the hairstyles, everything's going to be great.
If we don't get a Death by Steam room, I'm going to be pissed.
Oh. I would expect one.
Yeah, that should be a definite.
Yeah, it's gotta be, right? It's gotta be.
So you haven't seen this?
I haven't heard of this one.
You haven't heard of this one?
How did you hear about
it? Just kind of looking into campy, fun 80s movies, and the list is we've seen the 80% of them, if not more. And this one kind of caught my eye, and it just kind of went from there. Director doesn't have too many credits, but one thing that's kind of fun, the main actor, so the guy that plays Michael, is played by William Buhmuller, who goes on, first of all, he was the manager of a health club before being cast, which is kind of cool.
Right, he's typecast.
That's the movie.
Yeah.
And he was in a lot of just random, like, cable shows. Not, like, main cast, but was in episodes of NCIS, 24, Bones, Reba, Days of Our Lives.
Man,
so like a bunch of those type of shows. It's like
quality.
A couple episodes here and there. So
guys, he's a well-traveled actor.
Oh yeah.
Is there a Death Spa 2 or is this a standalone?
That I don't know. So we'll have to see. Maybe it'll set us up for a second one. But I am excited for this one. It's just supposed to be, lots of gore, campy. Cheese.
Did you see a trailer on this at all?
No. So this one I even know pretty much even less than the last one because I watched a trailer for that because I wanted to make sure it looked good.
Thanks.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, no, this one it was pretty much just like the name intrigued me enough to click on it. I mean, I read that I was like. Come on, possessed gym equipment, killing people, like, in the 80s. Like, it sounded really fun, so let's find out.
Where's this available? Where can we watch this?
We're going back to Amazon, baby.
Shout out to Jeff
Bezos. He's so down to earth. He's a good guy.
Well, he's not down to earth yet, but he will be.
Hey. There we go. Alrighty. Let's get into it. And we are back. We just watched Death Spa. What did you guys think?
It was a hoot. I like Death Spa. Death Spa was
was fun.
Considerable uptick in the
entertainment.
For sure, coming from where we came from.
No, definitely a whole bunch more fun. A lot of like weird stuff going on, but some great kills, some great lines, some great costumes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I agree.
I was most excited for the costumes and the hairstyles and all of that, and it delivered hard.
Absolutely. I think in stark contrast to our last recap, we can really fly through this one, not because it's not deserving, but because, it was simple. It was...
not plot heavy.
No, it was a vehicle for violence and gore and some solid horror tropes that... I honestly, I want to get into some of these kills. We'll paint a little backdrop.
Yeah.
The spa is a seemingly futuristic high-tech spa circa 1989.
Yeah.
It's struck by lightning.
A great opener.
Yeah, a classic opener.
Yeah, with the sign, Star Body? Was that what it was?
Star Body Spa.
Getting struck by lightning. You got the D in body, so it can spell out Death Spa right at the beginning. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
Got that steam room kill immediately. First kill, first scene.
It wasn't a kill.
That wasn't a kill. So that was
Laura, yes, that's right. Yeah,
getting blinded.
She got injured.
She was entrapped in the steam room and blinded by the what was it? The chlorine gas.
Chlorine gas.
Something like that. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what he was accusing him of.
And we didn't really get much more than accusations because this movie, like I said, we were zooming through what should have been plot, and I didn't mind it at all. We were getting setups for kills.
Most of it was David, right? Or not David. Michael, who's the owner, is like a newly widowed
He's a playboy.
Newlywed husband is a playboy with one of the girl who gets steamed in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Laura, and he ends up like having weird occurrences, and then people keep getting injured. Like that's the movie.
I did like that it built up to kills. So we had the blinding of Laura, and then we had the diving board mishap.
Oh yeah.
So it was like 2 incidents with no fatalities yet.
Right, and they were both like seemingly malfunctions of the gym due to like an electrical failure. Like we said, we got struck by lightning. It's a high tech gym for the time. It's all computer controlled. You'd even noted that at some point, like when they were on the workout machines, like the fly machine, it was like increasing its weight in increments by voice. Increase weight to 120, increase weight to 200, increase weight to 340, and like eventually, I think that was the first official kill.
I was about to say, was that the first kill where he was on like a fly machine
cage and on itself,
and it was
basically
so heavy that his insides kind of exploded.
Not only that, like all those machines just went straight into the wall. You didn't see any weight on them.
You don't have to see the wires.
They were just
They're
like
there.
The bench goes straight into the wall. Everything, all the cables go into the wall, just so that you know that this is operated by a computer.
Yeah, and we do learn pretty early that Catherine's twin brother David is the one in charge of the entire computer system.
He's the only one that knows the system too. Like,
no one understands it. They're very much in the dark on how the tech works,
Michael
except for the
and
one
David
guy.
Are not friends.
No, they're button heads pretty hard right away. And Michael even goes so far to suggest that it's a malfunction in the computer system that is leading to the unsafe occurrences, ultimately some deaths. And David ain't having it.
No.
He does not want to hear it.
David and Catherine are also twins. There's all this weird twin stuff that's going on throughout the movie where they're able to, like... There's like twincest and like weird like I don't know, seance-y twin magic where they're able to talk to each other.
Yeah, he had that line. He's like, I
know
her
we
thoughts
have a connection
more than you can understand, whatever.
Also, what was a good one? What are you going to solve this with? Your jock violence?
Yeah, because obviously David is like the nerd and Michael is like running the hell's jock.
Chad.
Classic nerd jock.
Yeah, dichotomy.
Yeah. I'm hoping one of you remember more or wrote better notes. But there's that random dead baby bird.
Oh, yeah, okay. I don't remember. They had a lot of weird knick-knacky things, like both in the office
there's
and
like
also
this
their
silver taxidermy
almost.
Like chrome-plated taxidermy.
Chrome-plated
not really
a cow skull.
I guess it was a skull.
Yeah, it's a cow skull. And they have like other cow skulls that are all like native. And they have like native beaded
like ornamental vests, like ceremonial vests
hanging in the office or like the boardroom.
Yeah.
Which then they have a boardroom for this giant gym that's computer operated. We don't even need to get into why they need a NASA control center to control. I'm assuming a steam room, a hot tub, and then all the machines.
And one of the strengths of this movie, immediately juxtaposed to Horrors of Malformed Men, is we didn't get into that plot. We just skimmed right over the top of it. None of those questions needed to be answered, which I found refreshing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We got some good kills. Real quick before we got into any more kills there, classic genre actor Ken Forey's in this. Didn't catch that going into the movie. But he became more popular throughout the early and mid 2000s. He made a lot of appearances in the Rob Zombie films. We kind of talked about that throughout. Notably, he plays Charlie Altamont in the Devil's Rejects and House of Thousand Corpses. He's also in the Halloween remake. He's in the animated movie that he did, the El Super Beasto, which is a Rob Zombie production, and a handful of other things. Classic genre actor, been around for many years, but it was good to see him in this. First appears on screen in an amazing jacket. This thing was like part duster, part trench coat, 100% fluorescent, and no reason it needed to be in the gym.
It was like almost like what boxers wear when they're going out to the race.
It's that's their name on the back
and flashing.
It's got a hood on it. Satin.
It was good.
It was great. It was great.
A lot of great costume, just in general, man. I mean, like the classic '80s workout stuff, like one pieces,
leg warmers, leotards,
lots of headbands, and like
big hair.
Yeah, big hair.
Big hair.
And A shirts tucked into like really short shorts as well, which I'm a big fan.
Yeah, this was This was fun, and I would recommend this.
Sexy.
One.
This is sexy.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so much nudity in this. Wow.
What was
it's Death Spa. What were you expecting?
What was hotter, the shower scene or the outside of Michael's door?
They're in this desert landscape.
Yeah,
right?
they're in what, California?
Southern California.
You can see the
yeah.
coast.
And for whatever reason, in this beautiful hillside mansion,
love the architecture of that house.
Chrome-plated fucking door.
Mirrored.
This thing would have been 200 degrees to the touch. There's no way a human could have opened this door in July.
You know what? if they had shown us directly out the front door, you'd seen a burn scorch mark a mile long from the concentrated sunlight reflecting off of that door.
Yeah, the concrete is
it just melting.
This door was a distraction, but it was a fun distraction.
Distracting door for sure. Hashtag distracting door. Tweet that.
Yeah, Elmers, we need you. Let's get that trending worldwide before.
We don't have a Twitter yet, but you guys get that started.
Yeah,
you don't tag us. You hashtag. Chrome door. What are we hashtagging?
I forgot already.
Hashtag Chrome door.
Just rewind it if you didn't catch it the first time, and then tweet at us. Tell us what we missed.
Tweet out a few things. We'll pick them up. I'm sure.
We gotta get more official, guys. We gotta get. We'll have a Twitter up by Monday.
Yeah, get up our definitely Monday after whenever this airs. The following Monday.
Let's talk about the locker kill where a spear just came through out of nowhere.
The blue thing.
Yeah,
the killer blue.
Okay. What happened was all the lockers start going off, shuddering all in unison. I think I wrote down locker cacophony, and then something flies out of one of the lockers, and I think is it Priscilla? Is that?
I don't know. Honestly, a lot of these people were only in the movie to die,
to be killed.
They didn't really have names.
Yeah,
they probably had names, but
it was Priscilla or Marcy was one. She also went out early.
She got punctured through the throat and then died.
Yeah. It was all of the the arrow through the throat in Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Was that 3?
I thought it was an arrow, but it was large and
it was
blue, and I thought it was blue. I don't know.
It looked like a fucking spear.
Yeah, or some sort of arm rod, you know what I mean?
This is
broken, jagged piping.
It could have been. It could have been an actual javelin. Maybe they were Olympic training levels. This gym. This gym probably even in 1989 probably cost $300 a month. To go to this gym.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, well, did you see the types of parties they're hosting at this gym?
Apparently, it's just an open bar where they just drink everywhere.
Oh, and they have, on-site sushi.
Yeah, those guys were cutting up sushi.
Yeah, we'll get to that, because there's some good sushi food later in the movie.
So he's getting tortured by his ghost dead wife, who seems to have control over everything in the gym, telekinetic.
It almost started out with equipment, and then it became very clear she can anything.
She loosened the bolts on the diving board.
Right.
I guess it was. I guess it was.
And there was.
I guess that has nothing to do with a computer system.
At all, right?
Strictly mechanical.
So we got the diving board. And shortly after that, there was a scene in the shower. Where tiles started flying off of the wall.
The water started getting hot. It started boiling and steaming, and then all the tiles were
which I thought was great. I did not expect that at all. I think the first tile broke off and hit one of them in the head, and there was some blood there, which was cool.
Yeah, nobody had really come to pass as of yet.
Yeah, no one was dead at that point.
But we did get the fly machine kill. We got the spear through the throat in the locker room, or whatever that was. And there was some good gore there because Priscilla or Marcy, whoever this NPC was, ended up at some point she was stuffed in this locker, and our blind heroine Laura was traversing the locker room.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And she couldn't see, but she was opening up the lockers, and you came back upon the dead body of Priscilla Marcy. I apologize.
I love the double eye patch.
She takes a ring off of her finger and puts it on her own finger. She takes off of the dead girl.
Yes.
Really?
Which is yes.
Oh,
I'm not even kidding you.
I must have been writing something.
That is insane. I get blind,
Aloof.
but you could feel a dead corpse. Like you could definitely feel it's a human hand.
I mean, what do you think it's coming off of?
Yeah, you know, obviously all the ring,
the human-sized ring holders.
The ring holders I've got in my locker at the gym.
So, a quick note, or I think we breezed over it, is Catherine, the now deceased wife of the spa owner Michael. She killed herself early on in the movie.
In
it was
a brutal as fuck way.
Yeah, she covered herself in gasoline and lit herself on fire.
She was in a field in a wheelchair. And then
she went out to the garden. I think she says she went out to their garden, right?
Yeah.
And doused herself in gasoline.
I don't think they ever really. Maybe they did touch on why she was like going through something, but why she killed herself.
I missed it. It wasn't a big plot point, but again, that's not what this movie was about.
No, it wasn't super plot heavy.
She did seem to have some sort of like telepathic communication with her twin David, who was running the computer room, and then she at some point did assumed the computer. She was trying to communicate with Michael and David through the computer.
She was sending him like DDoS, messages on the green screen, and then also like faxing him. There's like "I miss you, Michael," like going on like 100 times.
It was a lot of fun, honestly.
Well, I do now have to mention the command line prompt starting with "please."
Please.
I enjoyed the shit out of that for sure. Just like having to
be polite
to your computer, please.
Oh man, good stuff.
I mean, honestly, not a whole lot to talk about this other than the kills. I mean, those are the highlights for me. There were some solid effects and gore.
We haven't talked about the girl that went down into the basement,
the boiler room,
or the fish kill. And we didn't talk about the scientist with the ghost counter.
Oh yeah, the ghost Geiger meter.
Geiger meter.
He Michael goes to this parapsychologist, and
he has his own office and everything. This is like paranormal scientist or something. It says on his door.
He's a parapsychologist. You find out he left the seminary to get into parapsychology to figure out what was real and was not real. So settle dig at religion, and also like you're investigating ghosts. So let's not.
And he looks crazy. Like they Googled crazy.
Yeah, they're like,
man. He had like.
Can
weird
wear a
sweaters, his hair
like,
sticking
tweed
out.
Suit, like look like a crazy professor.
Oh yeah.
And he has a Geiger counter that he puts over a Carnelian brooch that was like whatever Catherine's, and tells him all the stuff. He's like, "Oh, you found all that out in the paper." And they're like, no, actually, you had a bird's nest. And then they talk about like the baby bird and stuff that came out that we still don't really know where that came from.
Yeah, because Michael's kind of under the hunch that there's some fuckery afoot and there's some paranormal activity happening. So he seeks out the counsel of this paranormal investigator.
What was his name? Moray?
Lido
Moray?
Lido
Moray. And so he comes to the gym and like, but that's before.
Well, prior to that, one of the NPC women goes down to the boiler room. She's like, she's an employee, and after her shift, somebody says, "Oh, Michael left a note for you."
That's right.
And she reads the note, and it says something like. It was really vague.
It was like, meet me downstairs.
Right, if you want to learn more, like meet me downstairs. Like we've already established at this point Michael's a playboy, and he's totally over the tragic suicide of his wife. And he is just going to town with all of his employees.
Anyone in his orbit is fair game for Michael. Yeah.
He got over that brutal suicide.
And so, she's smitten, and she wants to go down and see what this is all about in the boiler room.
Of course.
As one does.
As one does. Go to the boiler room.
And, she is perplexed when water starts to come out of the
sprinkler
system. She's got that old school Domino's delivery jacket. And she is confused, and she's what is it?
What is it?
So
water
there's steam,
steaming,
and
spraying.
Water's
well,
coming
it's
from the
same,
sprinkler system.
Same coric, whatever.
Yeah.
Like
so you would assume
that mixing into the water.
Apparently, there's some tube or number of tubes in the piping that carry pure chlorine gas to the pool in the gym because
as they do.
You need that much. And it is mixing in and causing it to form into like hydrochloric acid, which is then killing people and melting them.
Yes, and
which was a good kill.
Oh, she is.
And
slowly disintegrating under a shower of acid
Black and
rain.
Alka-Seltzer.
I loved this kill. And even better than just the initial, what we were under the impression, the initial kill itself, she
stayed alive.
Yeah, she stays alive.
Oh, that's right.
For like
she's
several
like
scenes.
she's gooey.
You
she
could
is
see her heart beating through her fucking rib cage, and she was
yes,
still
because
alive.
her skin, her muscle, her bone has all been chewed out by this fucking.
But the heart still beating. Her jaw, but she's got a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, think of like a chocolate lava cake, but a person. And that's what she does.
Her eyes are falling out of her head.
That's it. Think of a Dunkin' mug.
Dunkin' Hines
microwave
coffee
brownie.
Microwave cup brownie. That's what she looked like by the time this was done. And so
she does not die. And then Dr. Lito More goes down to investigate with his ghost counter, his Geiger counter of ghosts, and it starts going off. And he finds the not quite dead but very moist NPC, and then freaks out. Totally normal. Of course you'd freak out.
Absolutely.
And runs out and is like freaking out. And that is when an apparition of Catherine shows up and is like giving him the business about whatever. She's the boss and I'm going to kill you now. And then she like flings him up, I don't know, 25, 30 feet into the ceiling.
Whips him around a lot.
And then he falls down and gets thrown around and is eventually killed. I actually don't remember his death.
He like hit the ceiling and then fell down that like
they
weird
dragged
conveyor
him down
belt.
the conveyor belt that they showed the box
to the boiler room,
down.
right?
Yeah,
because you get all your packages sent to the boiler room.
Of course.
Yeah, it was a weird type of death. But I think really we were establishing that this apparition, so to speak, does have an influence over the physical world.
She is a powerful poltergeist.
Yes, absolutely.
Powerful.
Gorgeous too.
And also big. Like she looks like a Bride of Dracula kind. She's got this like lacy kind of white thing. She's got all these like red gels coming off her. Like she's super haughty and like kind of sassy. Like I dig it.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah, she was good. And that was a solid little sequence there. Not so much for the kill of Dr. Moray, but the return to the body as it's continuing to decompose.
No, that was good special effect. Good practical effects.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Was that with the squirting through?
Oh yeah, the eye squirted. Her eye just squirted through and exploded. Yeah, that was really
great.
good.
Yeah.
So we move on from there. The apparition returns back to Michael's home. And it starts communicating with him, but when we wake up again, and it appears as though he's been dreaming. But this apparition is getting a stronger hold on Michael, and it's becoming clear that Catherine is moving into his like personal space, and there's a lot of uptick in violence from this point on. Mm-hmm. We had the little soiree, the after-hours soiree, the Halloween party.
The Halloween party, yeah.
So there is a Halloween party at the gym, and it seems like all of the employees, some board members, insurance company representatives, and all the members of the gym, everybody's there.
You know what I actually expected and we didn't see was people doing drugs. Like everyone's drinking, but I don't know. I just expected
some hard drugs. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
A little or
steroids at least.
Little couple key bumps in the ladies' room.
That's definitely happening behind the scenes.
But they didn't show it, and they showed a lot of nudity. So I expected drugs, but whatever.
So at this soiree, there is an open bar and a sushi station
on demand.
Yes, and they are cutting up live, or not live, but like
no, they're not live.
But they're cutting up fresh fish to order, making rolls to order.
And this is Southern California, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really make sense until you get to arguably the best kill in the movie.
Oh man. Okay, because first off,
he gets locked in the freezer.
It doesn't make any sense because alligator gar are not sushi grade fish. So we don't need
we're not 100% sure on.
I'm very sure about that.
But I don't even remember who it was. Was it Michael?
It's no,
because he didn't die.
It's the lieutenant, right?
Yes, it is. It is the lieutenant cop.
So he gets locked in that like walk-in freezer.
Well, what happens is
he's talking to one of the ladies playing bartender, and she had previously in the movie, when we were first starting to get some of these computer electronic kills, there's kind of a gag kill early on where she's making one of the gym members a veggie smoothie.
Yeah, like a V8.
Yeah, and she has her hand in the blender, and she kind of plays the practical prank of
getting stuck in it.
Right. Later on in the movie, up to where we were just discussing,
Chekhov's blender,
she actually does get her arms.
I can't believe I forgot that kill happened right there.
There's so much
the
bloodiest
blood.
Kill. There's like a river of blood under her.
they're like
and it had not gotten past her wrist.
Slipping around in it, and she's turning into like high pulp orange juice.
Yeah.
And this dude is trying to get off. And there's no way.
It's a wireless blender, so you can't just unplug it.
It is a Vitamix. It is just like
he probably could have slammed it on the ground or on
something. I don't know.
And then it finally disconnects, and she's bled out. She's died.
She's gone, and he's the homicide investigator.
Given the amount of blood, she should be dead.
Oh, she's super dead.
So then the fucking fridge, the walk-in fridge opens up and sucks him in.
Yeah, complete. Like this is just.
Black hole sucked in immediately.
So he gets sucked into the walk-in.
I mean, I almost feel like she's getting more powerful as the movie progresses.
Well, with each kill, almost
because she can also later on we'll get into it, but she can take possession of somebody. So
yeah,
so she is.
She's feeding off the blood at this point.
Yeah.
So he's in the walk-in.
He's in the walk-in.
Beers start popping.
Everything
cool effect.
starts
everything
moving.
starts popping.
Yeah, all of these like protein pills and everything are flying around, and then
cans of tomato puree are popping on the shelves.
And then when I read Death Spy, I did not expect a frozen flying fish kill.
Well,
but out of nowhere,
the fish animate themselves and then fly
what kind
off.
of fucking fish is
it? It's a gar. So
a gar? They look like an eel to me.
Well, yeah, but they're like real long and skinny. They have like a lot of teeth. Actually, it could have been a pike. It looked more like a pike, but it doesn't matter. They're the same thing. They're like predatory fish that are long and skinny, and they have teeth. And,
gnarly, big, angry teeth, and those things just buried themselves into his jugular,
into his throat immediately, and like flying and like just getting.
This thing was shot out of like a potato gun. The way it flew into his throat,
and it was like still frozen. Like you could still tell that it was frozen.
Well, it didn't get upright. It just stayed sideways and like flopped around sideways to get at him.
Yeah, and he was a goner.
Yeah, immediately, and no one ever bothered to look back in the freezer.
No, nobody found him. I mean, but there was
that we saw.
There was a lot going on. I could see why you might not have been poking around in the
walk-ins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do we go from there? I mean, there's a lot of kills, and it kind of all the time back and forth in through cutaway scenes. We see Catherine, the former wife of Michael who had committed suicide. She's definitely starting to take a physical form, and she kills Jeffrey, who is one of the young assistants or employees of the gym, who is taking over the computer control station because David is not
the
found.
guy with the
beautiful hair. Perfect hair.
I forgot about that.
A lot of good-looking people in this movie.
Yeah.
No matter your persuasion.
Yeah,
he is told so clearly and strictly to not let anybody in that room except for Marv. And as soon as Laura walks in, he's just like, "What are you doing here?" And then she starts being all sexy, and he's like, "I guess you can stay."
Yep. And how did she get him? Face squeeze.
Face squeeze.
That's right. It's like off screen for the most part.
Yeah, I mean,
she kind of just grabs his jaw,
and then she uses his like costume to impersonate. But there's no blood. She just like grabs his face and then cut to scene.
Yep, and then the next time we come back, she's dressed up at because remember it's a costume party, it's Halloween, so she's in his pirate garb,
like the see-through people mask with the clown paint.
Yes, they can't. Yeah.
Yep, and also remind yourself that Laura's been blinded in the opening scene in the steam room.
She's got her little gauze circles over her eyes the whole time.
No, but at this scene, it's the first time she's had them off.
Well, but she's like a Chiquita Bonita type of character, and she's got these dark glasses, And there is a comment that
she's still,
Michael makes something about like, oh, how's she doing without her eye gauze or something? And like, and she's got these murdered out glasses, so she can't really see much of what's going on. She gets led away.
Grabbed and taken to the other room.
Yep. And what happened to Laura? Laura got, if I'm not mistaken.
The exploding mirror.
No. They put Laura in the tanning bed.
That's right.
See, there's so many good kills in this movie.
The exploding mirror was an NPC, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because that was, she literally it was
quick.
Whipping back and forth okay. You guys weren't in theater, were you?
No.
Okay. Well, you like make sound effects, you like shake like a sheet of metal to make thunder.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was looking like. Like the mirror was like shaking back and forth and rippling, and then she just exploded,
which was cool.
But no, the tanning bed for sure.
Yep. So Catherine straps Laura down into the tanning bed, and she goes back to assume the controls in the computer. At which point she runs back into Michael, and she tells Michael about, I'm lonely. Why don't you come and join me?
Join me in hell.
Yeah, and if you take one step further or try to stop this, your little plaything is going to be burnt to a crisp, because
she's fried chicken.
Fried chicken, that's right.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure
So
she would be fried
there's
chicken.
some good lines. Also at this point, it seems as though Catherine has assumed the body of her twin because she's morphing back and forth between her apparition and
there's a scene where it's like from the waist down where it's David putting lotion on his skin and dressing up as Catherine, essentially. Right. And then they immediately go and look for him, and they're like, oh, he's definitely dressed up as Catherine. We could tell immediately.
There's that phone call, and he's like, oh, get this. He might be dressed in drag.
Yeah, the homicide investigators looking for a 6 foot,
135, slender build.
Wacko.
Might be dressed as a woman. Wacko.
Most likely a psycho.
Red ginger hair. Psycho, probably a psychopath. She gets tied down and gagged, I guess. And then I don't understand. I mean, I guess she goes back to the control center, but she is the building. She can control everything from wherever.
Yeah, it's smart. She's like Katie Seagal in Smart House.
Yeah, it's like her little. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Good deep cut. Good one. Fucking. I lost it. Don't worry about it.
I'm not. So we get more gore. This movie doesn't stop until, honestly, you want to talk about a hard, fast, violent ending.
The last frame
was
of the movie.
A great kill, and then immediately roll credits. We don't even know what happened to Michael. We're not sure exactly what happened to Laura. And it didn't really matter because none of that was important to the film.
Yeah.
The final kill was Catherine, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what happens is Michael goes to this. Everything gets set on fire from Catherine, and then Michael goes to the circuit board and then gets his sandals and is crossing the streams essentially, and is able to overload the circuit board, and then you see Catherine getting electrocuted at the control board.
Yeah.
And then they think it's over, and then they go and find her body because the door is locked. The computer locked the door, so she just shoots it a couple times, and they bust through. And then they get over to her, and Catherine / David is burnt to a crisp. And then she reaches out and grabs, and then Michael rips the arm off, and then gets 3 shells right in the chest.
As the other character goes, hold on a second, and pulls out a gun and just conks 3 in her head.
Yeah, man, this thing was fun. I will say it right now. Maybe not the best film, but Elmas, I wouldn't expect us to review a lot of Oscar winners on this show, okay? You go buckle up and you'll learn quickly this is what we're here for.
I put it up there, not maybe at the exact rank, but very close to Chopping Mall and Sleepaway Camp. It's close.
Man.
You like it that much?
I don't know.
I think it's fun.
Those are heavyweights by my standards.
I said
Chopping
close.
Mall is,
As
You're
far
talking
as
Linnea Quigley, Barbara Crampton, Killbots.
Don't listen to him. But give us your honest.
No, I'm just saying, like, as far as like how fun and like cheesy it was, like I think it's close.
Yeah.
Like it's not quite there. Like those ones are on their own level. But as far as like 80s cheese that I have never even heard of, it's close.
Fair.
That is fair
to me.
I mean, yeah. Well, I'll just jump in right away. I'm gonna give this one a solid, strong, healthy 76.
Okay.
What?
I was.
Yeah, dude. This
Yeah,
was.
you like? All right.
This was fun.
Okay.
It was by no means a good film, but like it was well delivered, properly packaged, aesthetically pleasing 80s cheese.
Okay.
It lived and died in its own genre. It stayed true to itself, and it moved quick. It wasn't too long. There was parts of it that were funny, but most of it, like I said, plotless vehicle for violence. And that will always get a good score from me. You know, a big problem with the first movie we watched tonight was just tried too hard. Tried to do too much. And I like those movies too. But this is what it was, and it lived and died on its own merits, which were minimal but well executed. 76.
Okay.
I was thinking the number I had in mind, I was going to do a 72 was the one that I had, so pretty close, but I had a lot of fun. I'd watch it again.
Yeah.
Like not like very soon. But I mean it was fun enough that I'd definitely watch it again.
All right.
What do you think?
I'm going to be a Debbie Downer here.
Hey, man.
I didn't hate it. I thought it was fun. I agree with you guys. I just 5.
5, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely not something that I'm going to sit here and argue like why it's that much better, you know what I mean?
If you want, I'll tell you why you're wrong, but...
Please, that's why we're here.
No. Okay,
So when you think, like...
So, again, rating a lot of, like, rating movies or rating anything is rating it against other things as well, right? To kind of give you a barometer.
Yeah,
so,
like, I was going to ask, like,
am I
what
going
would
to watch
you
this
put,
again?
like, Chopping Mall, like, those kind
Chopping
of things.
Mall is bad, is so bad that you have to watch it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, this is good, and I think that people that are fans of movies or fans of horror movies, like, this is a movie that I would recommend to somebody. It's like, oh, you like B-movie horror, definitely check this out.
Oh, yeah.
This is not a bad movie. This is a lot of fun, a lot of gore, and like you're saying, like, it was refreshing after the first movie that we saw, no offense. But there's just a lot going on. Like, this I could, like, I don't know. I enjoyed what was going on. But as far as, like, was it particularly memorable? Was it something that I would like be like, oh, a fun movie night, let's definitely watch the Death Spa? It didn't check enough boxes for me.
That's fair, man.
Totally fair.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. Some of the acting was horrible. As we mentioned going into it, Michael, first-time actor, because he ran a health spa prior. I mean, it was clear. There was a scene...
Very noticeable.
You can look like you know what you're doing.
we completely skipped over this. So like, I'll put my little caveat on my 76. There was a scene wherein a boom microphone from the sound crew was visible for more than 3 seconds. Like, I mean, this was not well shot. This was not well written.
Visible.
It wasn't well acted.
Yeah.
But it was entertaining.
Yeah.
It provided me with what I wanted, and for that alone, it's above average.
I agree, man. I feel
To
like...
me.
Okay, when we get into... And we're going to watch a lot of these, like, good, bad movies or B movies or however you want to describe them. So much of this is, like, eating, like, I don't know, a chili chocolate truffle, like... The balance of flavor is going to be different depending on your palate, and so, like, I don't know, just not enough spice. I don't know, but fun and a good watch, and like if you're in a fan of this genre of movies, like definitely check it out. But
yeah, no, I mean, if you like cheesy horror movies, it's a must-watch in my opinion.
5 out of 10. Strong 5.
Strong 5. That's a strong 5.
I like it.
That's fine, man. That's fine.
So I think next week, right? I mean, don't tell us, but
Yeah, the next time we're sitting down at the corner of 13th and Elm, I'll be hosting.
Michael's hosting.
Couple movies up my sleeve that I'm looking forward to. As always, we'll reveal those at the beginning of the show, going into both films.
I'll honestly be happy if they're both in color. Be honest.
Give us the
yes, they're both in color.
Give us the vaguest of what are they talkies?
Are they gonna have sound?
Give us the vaguest of hints, please.
Okay, so as everybody has come to learn, I am a fan of older films, but both of these films will have been made post 1985.
Wow,
actually,
okay.
both of them post 1985. So that's your first hint.
Thank the Lord.
One of them, I will say, is a staple in the horror genre of Hong Kong cinema. So,
right on.
And then the second film, or however we choose to watch them, is going to be, I'll leave you with this. It is an installment of a well-known horror franchise. So, so a couple hints. I don't know. We'll reveal those going into the movie, guys. If you figure it out, good for you. I don't think that you will, but there's some fat to chew on.
All right, good to know. Exciting.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun week. Honestly, there will be weeks where it feels more like homework, especially if I'm hosting, and I will let everybody, including the Elmers at home, know this now. Buckle up, because I'm going to hit you with some old shit from time to time. But this next week is going to be a lot of fun, and it is 2 films I haven't seen, so I'm looking forward to it.
Cool.
Interesting.
Right on. And if you watch these movies, let us know what you think. Put it in the comments.
Like, follow, subscribe. Shout out to my boy Jeff Bezos at Amazon Prime.
Thank you, Jeff.
We want to say thank you to Just Watch for letting us know how to find all of this horrible, horrible cinema that we are so
excited about.
Right.
IMDb.
Big shout out to IMDb.
Do you think we bumped it up a notch, the bar, or down?
As far as good quality of film?
Yeah.
Oh.
Honestly, probably did.
I think it might.
Probably close to the same.
Close to the same.
Close to the same. Error on the side of +0.5.
You guys were pretty hot on.
I like Lawnmower Man.
But you guys were pretty hot on Death Spa. 70s.
That's true. Compared to what we've been fucking
everything
else recently, 70's pretty damn good.
You know what a big selling point for me on Death Spa was? The length. Like, if that would have been another 40 minutes, man, that would have been hard. But this one came out of the box, hour and 20 minutes, fast-paced, nonsensical, but fun. I think one of the bigger parts that was hard for me with Lawnmower Man, as we watched the director's cut, it was over 2 hours long.
It was long.
Like, almost 2.5 hours.
There were some antiquated, ableist, and, like, challenging, like, society norms a little bit that I didn't vibe with early on in that, but I did enjoy that movie. And then following it with Bats last week, I mean, we just went hard in one direction, which was so bad it's good culty films. And with this one this week, we had a film that was just bad, and then a film that was not good, but very fun.
Well, you guys loved it.
You heard it here, folks. We went from bad to not good.
I'm not rating these against Godfather, okay?
No, but it's still, that's a C. It's good.
76. It's not outstanding. It's hardly remarkable.
C+.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, the point is to watch movies that we probably wouldn't watch on our own.
Agreed.
So we're going to wrap this up because I think we've covered both films pretty well tonight.
It's true.
And we will definitely be looking forward to meeting up again for another double feature Friday night. That's it for me. I had fun tonight, as I always do. Gentlemen, thanks.
Fun night.
Good times. Signing off here, Elmers.
us watch 2 films. Come on, watch 2 films. If you scared, don't come over here. 13 M. 13 M. 13 M.